All right, so today we're diving into one of the world's great epics, the Persian Book of Kings, the Shahnameh. It was written by the poet Ferdowsi over 1,000 years ago, and we are going right back to the very beginning. We're looking at the foundational myth of the first king to ever rule the world, a story that kicks off with one single profound question. Ferdowsi opens his entire epic of kings with this. He's not just asking about history, right? He's asking about the very origin of ambition, of civilization itself, of that desire we all have to create a legacy. Who was the very first person to step out of the chaos and actually seek greatness? And to find the answer, he channels this ancient voice he calls the Dehkan. So who is this storyteller? Well, the Decans weren't just some random narrators. You can think of them as the cultural memory bank of ancient Persia. They were the nobles, the landowners, who kept the old pre-Islamic histories and myths alive. So by calling on the Decan, Ferdowsi is telling us, hey, my source is authentic. It's rooted in the deep soil of Persian tradition. He's a poet for sure, but he's also a historian, channeling these ancient voices for us. And the story that this Dejkan tells begins with a man named Keyumars. He's the first king, the one who brought order to a totally chaotic world. And his story starts, as so many great things do, in a high and noble place, the mountains. Under Keyumars, humanity takes its very first steps toward becoming civilized. He establishes the whole concept of kingship, of a throne and a crown. But his rule isn't just about power, it's about culture. He introduces new ways of dressing. The leopard skin becomes a symbol of this new era, and he brings order to how people eat. It's a time of peace, a time of firsts, of a world just finding its balance. Now, this introduces a really key concept in Persian kingship, Farrah, which means divine glory. This wasn't just charisma. It was this mystical, God-given light that shone from a rightful king, an idea that would influence how people saw monarchy in the region for centuries. Ferdowsi says it radiated from Keyumars like a full moon over a tall cypress, a power so immense that all creatures, from wild beasts to domesticated animals, were just drawn to him and would bow before his throne in peace. At the very center of this golden age is Keyumars' beloved son, Simurgh. He's described as handsome, skilled, and noble. I mean, the perfect heir. For Keyumars, Simurgh isn't just his child. Ferdowsi tells us the king's very heart was kept alive by his son. This really sets the deep personal stakes for what's about to happen. As you know, in any great story, peace can't last forever. Into this perfect, ordered world, a destructive force is about to enter. And the first conflict in human history isn't over land or resources, but something way more primal: envy. And this slide just illustrates the two opposing forces perfectly. On one side, you have Keyumars, representing order, divine right, and civilization. On the other, you have Ahriman, the evil spirit of Zoroastrian mythology. And he has no reason to hate Keyumars, other than pure destructive envy, or rashk, at the sight of his goodness and success. And this envy gives birth to a plan to tear it all down. Keyumars, totally unaware of the lurking danger, is warned by a divine messenger. This messenger is Sarush, an angelic figure who's like a link between the heavens and humanity. And dressed in a leopard skin, just like Keyumars' people, Sarush appears and warns the king that Ahriman's own son, a ferocious demon, is gathering an army to destroy everything he has built. Upon hearing this, the brave Prince Simurgh doesn't hesitate for a second. His heart just boils with rage, and he gathers his own forces to face the demon. But this is a world so new and so innocent that the tools of war, like armor, they haven't even been invented yet. Simurgh goes into the first battle in history wearing only the symbolic leopard skin of his father's peaceful kingdom. The confrontation is brutal, and it is swift. The unarmed Simurgh is absolutely no match for the demon's raw ferocity. Ferdowsi does not shy away from the horror of this moment. The black demon grabs the prince, breaks his body, and tears him apart with his claws. The world's first prince, the hope of civilization, is killed. The news completely shatters Keyumars. Ferdowsi uses a powerful, simple line. The world turned black for him. The king descends from his throne, and a great mourning begins. And this isn't just a king's sorrow, it's the world learning what loss feels like for the very first time. The animals, the birds, all of them, gather and wail in sorrow for a full year. The golden age is over. But grief, in an epic, is often just the prelude to action. After a year of darkness, another message arrives from the heavens, sparking the path to vengeance. So this lays out the path back to order. Guided by another divine message from Sorush, Keyumars channels his grief into action. He raises this great army of men and beasts, and he places his grandson, Hushang, in command. It is Hushang who confronts his father's killer, and this time justice is won. The demon is slain, and the world is avenged. With this final act of justice, Keyumars' mission on Earth is complete. He established civilization, he endured its first tragedy, and he restored order. His purpose fulfilled, the first king's 30-year reign comes to a peaceful end. But the story, it doesn't quite end there. After telling this epic tale of creation, tragedy, and revenge, Ferdowsi steps back. He adds a final couplet that has puzzled and fascinated scholars for centuries, making us question everything we've just heard. This is the line. After this grand myth, he says the world is nothing more than a fable, a story, and in the end, neither good deeds nor evil ones will remain for anyone. It's a shocking, almost nihilistic turn. After building up the importance of Keyumars' legacy, is Ferdowsi saying none of it really matters? This single couplet opens up a huge debate. Is Ferdowsi a pessimist, saying that time erases everything so nothing ultimately matters? Or is he making a more subtle point, that what truly matters isn't eternal fame, but the experience of living, of fighting for good, even if you're forgotten? Or maybe he's commenting on the nature of stories themselves, that while the people are gone, the fable itself, the lesson, is what survives. You know, many scholars simply leave it open, saying the ambiguity is the point. And this leaves us with the ultimate question. If Ferdowsi truly believed that nothing remains, why would he dedicate 3 decades of his life to meticulously crafting the Shahnameh, this massive monument of poetry designed specifically to ensure that the good and evil deeds of Iran's heroes and villains would not be forgotten? What do you think?